Hi. Let's continue with the Matlab introduction. If I want to first of all clear my workspace, I can use clear all command. And if you want to clear the command, then you can use the clc command. In Matlab, we will often work with vectors and matrices, or alternatively, we will also do some character and string operations later on. So if you want to create a vector of numbers, that's very easy. Let's say 2, 1, and 0. Now it shows that on my workspace, X is created as a 1×3 row vector. And you can create another vector, let's say -0.5. When you define your rows, actually you don't need to put these commas, so you can simply leave some spaces. That's also fine. And you can see that my Y is created here, added on my workspace. And you can also do some operations with these two vectors as long as they have the same size. We can do a term-by-term summation by using the plus, or you can do a term-by-term subtraction like this, or you can do a term-by-term multiplication by using this dot product operator, and that will give you the term-by-term multiplication. If you want to, for example, take the dot product of two vectors that you define, you can look to your documentation in Matlab to search for dot product, let's say, and I find it here. If I have these two vectors A and B, then I can use the first syntax to get the dot product. And it has also an alternative argument, additional argument, dimension, that you would like to take the dot product along a particular dimension. You can use this alternative syntax that is explained here. So let's use the simple format first, dot x and y, and you can see the dot product of x and y equals to 1. This is same thing as doing a term-by-term multiplication of x and y and summing all the terms of this vector, and notice that this sum takes the summation of all the elements of this expression, which is again equals to 1. In Matlab, defining a matrix is also quite easy, and you can say, let's say 1, 2, 3. This is the first row. To go to the second row, I need to use a semicolon, and then I can put some other numbers. Let's say -22. So this is a 2×3 matrix that I just defined. And if you want to access some elements of this matrix, for example, the first row, first column, A11, you can go to the first row, second column like this, first row, third column like this, and you can simply go over all these elements one by one, like this. If I choose something larger than the size of my matrix, it will give me an error telling that index exceeds matrix dimensions. So this is a typical error that you will see if the index that you are trying to access exceeds the size of the matrix that you defined. And also we can easily define some characters in Matlab, let's say ABC. In order to avoid confusion, let's say this is my X. So you can see that X is again created on my workspace, and you can notice that this is a 1×3 character vector. So if you try to access the elements of this character vector, you can see that the first element is A, the second element is B, and the third element is C. In Matlab, you can also define a string. In order to define a string, different from the character vectors, you will use a double quotation. So if I do like this, now my X is a 1×1 string. If you want to create a vector of strings, what you can do is create an array basically, and you can fill each element with different strings, A, B, C, let's say. So now you can see that I created a 1×3 string array. And again, we can try to access the elements of this array string, and you can notice that it will return the elements of this string array that we defined. So thank you.